Uppercut, uppercut, sonic boom! Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Bushka, and today's video is this weapon here, the DP28. That's what we're going to be talking about. It's a gun that's been requested a lot by people on the YouTube, but also by people that I play with regularly. It's really popular right now with a lot of the guys that I run around with, and it should be because it's a very good weapon. But I want to talk a little bit about what's brought it back to earth for me, what it does well, and I really do think that it's criminally underrated in certain aspects, the DP28. And it's a gun that is incredibly versatile, but it really does lack a certain something that the player base is looking for. I'm talking, of course, about sprayability. It may seem sprayable, like you're going to see a lot of sprays in this game in this video where I'm running 6Xs and 3Xs and just running basically iron sights and it's whipping people to bits. That's because it has to have the best, if not in the grand final, in terms of recoil for iron sights. Like the iron sights with this thing sit perfectly still and never move. It's incredible how good the iron sights are. And it is also incredibly good at spraying people if they are stationary or they are coming at you in a straight line. What it's not good at is spraying anything that's moving. And there's kind of a line in the sand where things are good for spraying and things are bad for spraying either side of that line. And of course, I'm talking about bullet speed. If you have a gun that has in excess of 800 meters a second bullet speed, you can spray moving vehicles. If you're below that, it gets tough, and it can be compensated for with incredible recoil, which the DP28 has. But there's a certain time where it just becomes too difficult. And the nerfs that have happened to this gun have turned it into a gun that's more of a... It's odd. It's almost more of a sniper. And it has that incredible headshot damage that it keeps from the huge alpha dose. It has 47.9 as a base damage round. So your headshot damage with your multipliers works out at about 110 damage base. So you're doing 77 damage to a level 1 helmet, 66 to a level 2, and 49.5 to a level 3 helmet. That means if you can get a headshot, you're taking half health even off a level 3 target. That's why you can use it in situations like this and kind of squeeze out a couple of headshots. And if they don't full health heal back up, you can clear them up. What it doesn't do well is that spraying horizontally pugnacious targets. Targets that are rotating in vehicles, targets that are running and jerking around, because its bullet speed is a paltry 608 meters per second. Now, when I originally started playing PUBG Mobile, the DP28's bullet speed was over 700 meters a second. That is a massive drop, and it did need a nerf. The DP's had a lot of tickling around the edges done. It's a gun that is awesome on a hot drop, but the further you progress into the game, the harder it becomes to dominate with it. I'm not saying it's not useful. I'm certainly not saying it's not good. It's just better at the start than it is at the finish. And you can say that about a lot of guns, that they are better at the start than the finish, but it genuinely is ferocious on hot drops. It's got the same headshot damage and body damage as an AKM. It's got next to no recoil, and it's got 47 rounds, which meant that when you were doing the event mode in the Genie Jubilee up on Nimbus Island, you could rinse 2 or 3 people at a time very, very comfortably with this gun as you dropped hot, and you wouldn't have to reload. Like knock and thirsting before you've gone through your whole clip, and it's not hard to do. It's pretty impressive. It's also excellent for prone targets because you won't rise vertically. And you're going to see here, even though this is a moving vehicle, the direction is straight. And as long as they're going straight, you can pull off some pretty crazy shots. It's when they start racing across your screen that things become difficult. That's also why people should probably pay more attention when you're having these little trade fights, peak trade fights. They don't give it nearly enough respect. If you can squeeze the trigger on the DP, you'll get 2 or 3 hits in a row, and quite often you'll get the double headshot jackpot, which is great. When that happens, people just fall every time. It's amazing. If you're doing, even if you're just doing double headshot on its own, unless they're 100 health, they're falling over. Like if they're 98 health, they're falling over. And if you're doing a double headshot, you're probably going to get a limb damage in there, or they're already taking damage, or they're 75. This is what I was talking about before. Like, you can see how good this gun is at suppressing. And watch, we just keep it up at head height. And did you see it just decimate that grub as a headshot? You've got to make sure you get that that head height shot. I mean, love shotguns, especially when you hit both barrels and they still don't go down. And you can run it with a 6X as well. You've just got to be very, very careful about your loadouts. It has a beautiful propensity. It works very well with a couple of particular guns. Any 7.62 weapon obviously will have lovely synergy with this. But some surprising guns that you probably don't realize, like the UMP and the Uzi. Both those guns are superb CQC weapons. And the DP28 actually low-key is one of the coolest hipfire weapons in the game. It fires slow, it has very little recoil, and if you're running it with a red dot or nothing else, it'll get aim assist when you use ADS with it. So you end up churning people with the DP28, and then when they get close, if you're up against multiple targets in a small confined space, you can go from your SMG to the DP28 and back again and fleece a lot of grubs. The biggest mistake people fall into when running this gun is thinking it's a 7.62 M416. It's not. It goes in the offhand. It's not a primary because the reload is just exhausting. But it's far better at clearing targets in that 50-meter range than it is at 200 meters. You're better off using a Mini 14 if you want something that's specifically designed for long-range clearing and still giving you a little bit of an offhand run. The Mini's not as good as the DP28 and CQC, but it's certainly an overlooked part of a loadout. Like, you can run a Mini and it will do things like that. I love running the DP because anyone that will watch the channel will see I run 7s constantly. I run AK, I run Mark 14, I run M762, I'll run the MG3, I'll run anything that's a 7. I really love the 7s. And I will run 5s. I primarily run the AUG, but like, look at this thing on straight line targets. If you can find straight line targets, it will reward you tremendously. You've just got to make sure that you use it correctly. Like, I mean, it's filthy. It's filthy. And one of the things that you'll find is really good with those straight line targets is when they're prone or they're hiding behind cover, you will get headshots. You'll get a lot of headshots. And its headshot damage, as we've already mentioned ad nauseum, is superb. I love how I just didn't get set on fire there. I just ran through the molly. No problems. I'll just run through the molly. It'll be good. Now, if you have any other weapons that you'd like to see videos on, please let me know. I'm happy to do them. The M249, which you can see featured here, is obviously a gun that I haven't touched for quite some time. It is probably my least favorite gun, and it's one I'm going to have to do something on soon. It has possibly the most annoying recoil characteristics in the entirety of any shooter in the known universe. I mean, it is so nasty. I hate the recoil on this gun. And I haven't done a video because I just don't want to run it. I much prefer to run the DP. And as far as LMGs go, I feel like the M249 is a distant third behind the MG3, the DP28, and then Daylight, followed by the M249. If you would do me a favor and like and subscribe to the video, that would be to the channel. That would be wonderful. And yeah, just stick around, come to the streams, join Patreon, have a good time.